There you go. We did it.
Carol, I don't know if you could see me, but it says we're live.
We are live.
But I can't see you, unfortunately.
I know. You're probably not going to see me, unfortunately. That's just kind of how this works. But you are split screen with me. So
I have to try this on my trusty little laptop here.
If you take the screen, if you open up,
that works.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, guys, it looks like we are ready to rock it with Ryan. I'm so excited that you guys have joined on today. Sorry for the delay. As you know, I always have to get funky when it comes to this IT stuff. So this is Ryan, and we are going to be talking tonight with Ryan. Hello. Hey. Okay, Ryan, I'm trying to see. Let's see here. So, Ryan, as soon as you get situated, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? Hello? Hello? Where are you at?
All right, let me...
Okay, so while Ryan's doing his thing over here, we are just going to go ahead and chat a little bit.
Let me try something really quick.
How you guys doing tonight? You guys doing well? Everybody's here. Zed's here. Floyd, Jay. Hey, Jay, how are you? I'm so happy to see you guys. These are all my den members on here, by the way, my faithful den members, which I love very much. They are the reason why I do what I do. So I love to see you guys. I'm happy to see you guys. I don't know where Ryan just went, but there he is. But definitely tonight is really, once we get it going here tonight, guys, it's definitely going to be great for you guys to watch this. How you guys doing anyway? Are you guys rocking it in wholesaling? Have you guys even tried any of the steps in the real estate, mastering real estate wholesaling things that we did? You can see us both. Great. I'm just waiting for Ryan to get it together over here. You know, these young guys, you know, they think they're tech savvy, and I'm on here before he is. So, but Ryan is definitely well known here in New Jersey. A lot of people, I should say, everybody knows Ryan. He definitely has a lot of skin in the game here. But here, Amy's here. It's great to see you, Amy. I think that's how you say it, right, Amy? I'm pretty sure that's how you say name. So we are working on it here. Any minute now, Ryan. He's just booting things up. That's fine, Jay. I understand. I'm glad that you popped on, Jay, and you will see it later because it'll still be up in the Den Facebook page for you to look at. So as soon as Ryan gets things going here, definitely it's going to be a good interview. But anyway, so, you know, the reason why I wanted to start bringing people on to inspire you guys is because, you know, a lot of you connect with my story. I know that, I saw that in the last chat that we did. There were people that really relate to me and the struggles that I had as a mom and raising my children and trying to make it to success. And, you know, my story relates to a lot of people, but, you know, it doesn't relate to everybody. So that's why I just thought it would be really important to start bringing people on that I personally know who have achieved great success in their lives so that you guys can, and I'm going to interview them and kind of see how they did it and the steps they took and what struggles they faced. And this is just so that you guys can really be inspired by these guys. So I really want you guys to, you know, try to join these as much as you can. I'm going to be doing like 2 or 3 a week in the Real Estate Den Facebook page, because by bringing these people on, and I'm going to interview them on certain questions like how did they get started? I want to know their story. You know, what struggles did you face and how did you overcome them? That way you can get a perspective from other people who are doing this as well, because one person's struggles are different than somebody else's struggles. So I just want you to find somebody that you kind of click with that will really inspire you to move forward, because that's what it's all about. It's all about inspiring you, getting you to move forward. It's definitely about supporting you and also giving you the training that you need while you're going. So this has a lot to do with trying to have you guys connect somebody on some level where you can sit back and say, you know what, Ryan said he did this, or Ryan, when I heard Ryan said that, this is the problem that he faced and this is how he overcame it. Let me try this. So there's always going to be certain things that you might pick up on these live interviews. So I'm hoping. So it looks like Ryan is getting himself together here. Are you situated, Ryan? All right, I'm going to pull you up on the screen. I think everybody can hear you and see you. Hold on. There he is. Woo! You did it.
You know what? It must be Android phones. You must have an iPhone, and I must have an Android phone.
Well, that's what I mean. When you have iPhones, it just works.
Okay. So I just fired up the tablet here. I just want to position it a little better. So I'm going to see right now. I know we got a little delayed here. I'm trying to get this situated so we don't have any other issues. Thinking I may have to get some boxes and CDs to prop it up properly.
Any time now, Ryan. We're good.
All right. I guess this will have to do.
There you go. You got to go down a little bit. There you go, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm just holding it, and I'm putting it on like my speaker boxes, and I pulled off the monitor. Now I have CDs here that I'm propping up. All right. This will have to do. How's
That's
that?
good enough for me.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
That's okay.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and start telling them a little bit about you, Ryan?
Okay. So a little about myself. I actually was a computer major in college. I worked for Net2Phone, which is a voice over IP company, basically the pioneers of you make phone calls over the internet. So when I was going to NGIT and interning and whatnot, after I graduated, I worked with them for 5 years. Liked what I did. I still love technology. However, I guess the only way to describe it is that entrepreneurship itch that just always was, just there and pending. And even though I was enjoying what I was doing, I guess it just wasn't really, at the end of the day, entrepreneurs, we want to be our own bosses. So, that was always kind of something that I always felt from within. So long story short, I was working there. 2006, I bought my first house. It was in my local neighborhood here. I actually just wrote about this story to my email list. And, I bought the house, started doing the renovations. I was going to flip it, but my parents were like, look, you're living home. You can get some roommates. You can, live there. It's a good area. Be on your own and for the same amount that you're paying us here, which was very, very minimal. So instead of flipping it, I moved into it. Life happened, whatever it may be. Kind of fell away from real estate for a little, continued my computer job. And then around 2009, there were some layoffs happening in the company. And given that I felt that I would like a career change, even though very, very nervous, you always have that calling, that tap on the shoulder, but how can you go ahead and after spending a lot of money on education and building that career and thinking that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life, just take a different path of something that in essence is kind of unknown. And so it's always been kind of like, just, I don't know, etching away, whatever it may be. And so come 2009, I actually went above my boss's head to my boss's boss and just had a conversation. Hey, what's going on with the, the layoffs, whatever it may be. And, it was a good situation because it's not that I wasn't happy there, but there was something else that I wanted to do, that being real estate. And rather than lay off somebody who's been there for 20, 30 years with family or whatever it may be, hey, a young kid, 26 years old, or actually this time I was 29 years old, and we were able to make something happen. So I left there and I was able to collect, your severance package and also unemployment at the time to kind of give me that little buffer to pursue my real estate, ventures. So interestingly enough, when I first left Net2Phone, I actually didn't dive right back into real estate. This is before the days of Podio. I was creating my own CRM. It was called REI Galaxy, trying to basically create what was a Podio scenario. Quickly found out that in the information business is a different world. And so quickly diverted and said, you know what? we could table this for now. I got to go ahead and focus on what's going to make money and kind of build, my real estate career. So fast forward a little bit, everyone has this mindset, like no one wants to be taken advantage of and scammed and everything. And, there's gurus that have a bad rap. At the end of the day, 9 out of 10 of these courses, they all work. However, there's no push this button, and you're going to make, millions of dollars. It does not exist. So, people buy these courses and they think it's going to be very easy. Then they shelve them and that's that. And then, hey, this stuff doesn't work. Well, with that being said, I bought, I think maybe in eBay, the short sale riches from Nathan Jurwitz. And I could say it was one of the best courses that I've actually ever come across. So here I was, plugging away and, every night going to sleep and saying, I know I have the drive and I know it's possible because I'm living in a house, which is possible, because I got it through a pre-foreclosure door knocking situation. But just kind of having that unknown, right? It's not like really formalized where it's like, okay, you're going to the university, you're going to get your diploma, and in theory, you're going to get hired. It's more of like, okay, you have to hope you're getting the right education, implement that. And it's a lot of on your own school of hard knocks in a sense. So I think 9 months, at least, maybe even a year went by, and we're talking consistent, daily, going to bed super late of just plugging away, and going to bed and going, I know there's light at the tunnel. I may not see it now. I know it's there. I could feel it. And so fast forward is either 9 months or a full year went by, did not land a deal, finally landed my first short sale, same day flip kind of thing. Bought it and sold it within the same minute, hour, whatever it may be. At that point, I was like, okay, all this hard, okay, how do we go ahead and get the next, one going on? So I did a couple of those for a little while. Short sale was interesting because with the short sale scenario, I always felt I was playing catch up. So here I would, as short sales or still are pretty complicated. They want a whole slew of documents. They're always kicking the stuff back. And if you don't have everything they need at a certain timeline, well, then you start from scratch, from zero. So it was very frustrating. I always felt like they were changing regulations just as I was getting, ahead of the game and understanding what was going on. So, I did a little bit of that, and then I kind of shifted gears a little bit. Probably bought another course that has to do with probates, whatever it may be, saying, look, you know what? Short sales are great and all, but man, they're tiring. So I want to focus on free and clear properties, no banks, no nonsense, easy transactions. And, that's kind of where my business finally took shape and took off in a sense.
Cool. So now how many houses have you done, Ryan?
That's a good question. So I used to do more volume. I could say, and my dates might be a little off here, but 2013, 2012, one year I did something like 23 or 20 something wholesale properties. The next year I doubled it, did 40 something wholesale properties. And then now it's not all glam. I mean, the next year or the year after, these properties fell on my lap where it wasn't a wholesale deal, or I shouldn't say it was a wholesale deal. I didn't have the proper buyers list to wholesale it out. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm going, it makes sense maybe to hold on to this. I had some money stashed up from the wholesale deal, and I was like, okay. So I picked up this single family house on an acre of land, which was commercial land. And then I think it was a month or so later, there was another deal. Actually, this lead was sitting in my queue for the longest time, and I had some VAs that were working for me. And I was like, all right, it was owned by an LLC. I mean, as you know, most of the times you don't really target LLCs, you target homeowners, just because other investors are, they're in the business, so to speak. So at any rate, I forgot his head. I said, all right, make him an offer. Guy took it, and I'm like, wow, this is worth looking into. It's 2 houses, 1 lot. It was in Roxbury. I still own them. And so I picked those up, basically became an accidental landlord. Now, mind you, things sound all great, whatever it may be. Both of these houses, I ran into issues. The first one, I get a notice that because they saw my for rent sign after, like rehabbing it up and excited about my first tenant and whatnot, put in a septic system. And I get a call from the zoning officer saying, yeah, you can't rent this out. It's commercial property. So I'm like, what do you mean? It's always been that way. And I never changed anything. So, okay, we go into town and they're like, oh yeah, this isn't like a simple, you just explain and we'll let you do it. No, you have to get a planner, an attorney. But because it's owned in an LLC, I can't come in and represent myself. I have to hire an attorney, whatever it may be. So this is going on. Then I find out that the 2 houses I just closed on in Roxbury, that the one, which looks like a garage or a chicken coop, they thought at one point, oh, you can't, that's not conforming. This is an illegal house in a sense. Or what are you talking about? It's always been this way. There's permits. There's a cesspool. It wasn't put in the middle of the night. Yeah, you got to go. Here we go through the same thing. So here I am, I have 3 houses. Thankfully, one of the 3 was already had come in a tenant and was rented, help offshoot the challenges. So I had to go to court months and months and months. The one in the small shack, they let it go through, which is good, but it cost me thousands in attorney fees, the whole 9. Then I had a fight with the other town and basically say, look, like I bought them as such. You guys were aware that there's permits taken out. There's a cesspool put in, everything, but it wasn't done on at night, so to speak. So when they finally say, okay, we're going to prove that, part of the resolution was, of course, a million things to be done. Put brick around this house to match this one, change this, block up this door, 20, 30, 40 grand, I think, something ridiculous. Luckily, I got them at a very good deal. So, that was my introduction to being a landlord. Now, the purpose of me mentioning all this is that, a lot of times people tell you all the good. There is could be a dark side in a sense. Now, what do I learn from this is that I'll never make those same mistakes again. Now, with that being said, I understand that on the other side of the spectrum is that people will get into this analysis paralysis where they're constantly educating, constantly learning, but they never take that next step. Then on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who say, ready, fire, aim. Mm-hmm. I agree somewhat with that mindset. However, knowing real estate and that the wrong deal can hurt people badly. I mean, think about an underground oil tank that has, that's leaking oil. That could bury a lot of people. So my opinion is, yes, you don't want to go ahead and get too much, feel like you have to know everything. That I'm still learning every day. I just came back from a failed inspection. Every day I learn. The key is you want to have enough information and knowledge and resources that you're not going to get hurt by these big ticket items such as an underground oil tank or a house that's sitting on a sinkhole or something. Something that could really affect somebody or stop them before deter them from before they even get involved in real estate. So my solution to that is educate yourself enough, but probably to team up with the right people. When I first started out, I didn't really have people that I could go ahead and say, hey, look, I'm going to partner with you. I'll find the deals. And I just want to look over your shoulder and shadow you so I can learn. I really think that's the smartest move for people starting today. I know they say, like the wholesaling, a lot of people pitch that, because there's no credit, there's no, technically no money, etc. But I mean, listen, when I was first starting off and doing a lot of wholesaling, you had the flex options, which were common for everybody. I used them myself. I will not touch them now. It's too gray of area. And I could see some people, if they go down that path, not knowing, they may find themselves getting hurt. So I think it's something, like myself, yourself, other people that have been doing it for a while. I think the newbies should kind of link up, whatever that arrangement is. Sometimes they can have a joint venture. Sometimes they're bringing them in, with small equity, whatever it may be. But I think that's probably the safest bet. And to be honest with you, someone like myself, who I'm constantly looking for deals and I'm in the market, I'd be more than happy if there was a true go-getter that, was out there looking for deals every day. Of course, I love to cut them, and it's just part of the business. So I think as much as people want to jump in, that's a great thing, but they definitely need at least a solid foundation. I don't think that they need some, to be as my mentor would, say a 7-year newbie, but definitely have some kind of basic knowledge so that they don't get hurt out there, because it could happen.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that's why, like, in the real estate den, I try to teach them, my phone's ringing. In the real estate den, I try to teach them the basics. We just got finished a 4-part wholesaling program where I took them from, the beginning of wholesaling all the way through closing a deal so that they would have that knowledge in place as, what do you do next and what do you do here? And I think that's kind of like the platform you need, especially for wholesaling is basically, knowing your contracts, knowing the rules, building your buyer's list, getting your feet wet. But I do think that after that, people start to find their own way.
Yeah,
of doing it.
and like I said, I constantly learn. I still make mistakes. I mean, to give you a quick example, I'm about to close on a house in 3 weeks, and we just found out. I was inquiring about a septic, and through course of conversation with the gentleman there, he goes, "I see an open permit here with contaminated soil." I'm like, "Wow, that's a big issue." Now, I wish I would have known this before I just paid $700 for a water test. But I got, at first I was mad in a sense, and I go, you know what? The right way to look at that is that was the best $700 I ever spent. I will never make that mistake again. Now that's part of my process. And I'll tell you what, $700 versus it could be, oil tanks, and they could be over $100,000 remediation. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens. I don't think it's a dead deal, but that was an eye opener. And again, I've been in this business full time since 2009, part time since 2006, and there's still things that I come across every day.
Yeah, that's what we talked about on my last chat. It was like, you know what, you're gonna fall on your face. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna like
Lose money.
You're gonna lose money. But that's what's gonna make you better. And that's, even with myself, if I never fell on my face and everything was just great, how would I be where I am today? I wouldn't, because it makes you better and smarter. That's like with the oil tank. You learn to test that soil before you buy the property, Ryan.
Oh, of course. Well, I didn't even know about I didn't even know about that until so we're not even there yet. And for all I know, it could be an old permit that was never closed out. But it's concerning just because, that's not just, okay, it's a boiler that I got to swap out for a couple. I mean, it's an unknown, and we don't know how, much money it could cost. So it's one of those high ticket things. But yeah, I mean, and again, it's not to deter people. I mean, one thing that as newbies that start out, and that I'm actually, I could see it with more of a clear lens, is that when you're first starting out, I get it. Like, everyone wants to go, and they may not have the funds to market. So they're looking for the free options, the sweat equity, driving for dollars, cold calling, whatever it may be. And that's great. It definitely is. I say utilize those. I still drive for dollars, but there comes to a point, like for an example, if I go ahead and send out a marketing piece, if it gave me below typical, response rate that I'm used to, I'd feel that sense of like wasted money and I failed and whatever. And now I look at it and I go, you know what? That's just one less touch that I have to do over the grand, scheme of things. I'll find out what my median is. And it's just, hey, I look at it as you're never going to go wrong investing in yourself or advertising your company for brand awareness. So it's kind of changed my mindset. I feel like, hey, you know what? I expect to send 7, 8, 9, 10 postcards before I get a response. So just the mind shift. And again, like I'm doing Facebook marketing now, still testing it out, spent a lot of money in it. It's not the best ROI compared to my other channels so far. But again, brand awareness. I just got a lead last week from somebody who saw the letters on my Jeep. It's the first time I've gotten a lead from that. And if it comes to fruition, this has to be, or it could be one of the better deals that I've ever done. So what I kind of, is consistent. Well, I'm kind of diverting a little bit, but consistency is key. But actually coming back to what I was going, to me, when I look at investing, I don't feel that like that sense of loss, whatever it is. I know it's part of the business. And I think that you really can't lose when you're marketing. And I look at it as a long-term play instead of one thing of postcards. Let's say I didn't get the response and now I quit. You'll never get you never be able to build a business off inconsistency. And I struggle with this now. I should have sent out a mailing campaign, but I got held up with some projects. It's just part of the evolution of the building process. But one of the biggest things, anytime I'm investing money into the business, into advertisement, I feel it's money well spent versus, hey, I didn't get that immediate lead or gratification, whatever it is. I'm losing, I'm failing. Oh my God, I guess I'm getting used to more of those business expenses. Whereas when you're first starting out, okay, what's this free option and what's this free service, free. And you can really get on that bad, trend that as soon as you got to spend a little money where it makes sense, it's tough to comprehend. I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people, but that's kind of what I went through. And, it's kind of like a building phase for myself.
Well, I teach them, and as I'm teaching in the den, I don't find any of I find all of my properties on the MLS. Every one that I've purchased, every one that I've wholesaled has come from the MLS. I've never sent out mailings. I've never done the bandit signs. It's always been working the MLS because those properties are already there. Now, Ryan is the other side of the spectrum. Ryan does the mailings, right, Ryan? And you do the, I mean, they work for some people.
Yeah.
For me, they just never did.
No, it's funny you say that because this house that we're in now was supposed to be a flip with my brother and father, and we ended up moving in. I mean, I was engaged at the time, and well, here I am married with a little one. So this was probably one of the few houses that I bought on the MLS. I actually steer clear of the MLS because my mindset is, and especially in a hot market, and in Morris County where I do most of my business, it's very, I mean, if it's a true deal, 9.9 times out of 10, it's gone that same day. Or, pocket listing, you name it. There's some that fall through the cracks, and everyone wants to get in, and that's great. But where everyone think, okay, they're learning, they go to the MLS. So it's a lot of people fishing in one pond. I rather go, as a lot of people say, zig when other people are going to zag, whatever it may be. That's kind of what I do. I'm like, let me find other areas that people aren't inundating, bombarding with calls, whatever it may be, postcards, and try to just, fish in a smaller pond with that are less people are focusing in, if anyone.
And that goes in line with today. I just sent my den members. I don't know if you guys have received it, but I sent you out 20 ways to find properties. I sent you an email today of my list of 20 different ways to find real estate deals. The MLS isn't the only way, even though that's what I teach in my Mastering Wholesaling program. The other ways that I sent you today, and you check your email if you didn't see it yet, I just sent you 20 ways to find properties, and a lot of Ryan's ways are on there. Ryan and a lot of other wholesalers or investors, they don't go to the MLS. They have their own method of doing it. Me personally, I have flipped, I flipped almost 100 properties through the MLS, through my agent. It's just the MLS is hot for me, and that's where I just spend all of my time. But I wanted Ryan to tell you this because not everybody stays on the MLS to find their deals, which is why I sent you that 20 ways, the 20 ways to make or to find your deals today. I sent that to you in email. If you haven't gotten it in your email, my den members, just let me know and I'll resend it. But it's definitely Ryan's ways are on there. So, I mean, I think that's an awesome way to do. How many wholesale deals have you done, Ryan?
So I'd have to look. Like I said, the one was 20 one year, the next year was 40. And then the 2 years when I was going through all the hell with the rentals, minimal here and there. And then I kind of transitioned more to the rehabs and fix and flips and then buy and holds. I mean, even after that, I had some partnerships that kind of went south. So, I actually rebuilt the entire business probably the past 2 years. And I go, you know what? I used to do the flips, from my pajamas in a sense. So I would go ahead, I'd have a partner and they would be the boots on the ground. We'd both meet the contractors together, decide on one we liked. Okay, they were the boots on the ground because it was their local area. I would focus on getting more deals, et cetera. They would kind of manage or oversee the general contractor there. And it worked out well for some things, and then it didn't work out so well. So given that, I was like, okay, I want to dive into, the rehabs a little more. I don't want to be working in the field, but I felt, at least for me, that by being in the trenches, because I really didn't know anything about houses. The first house I bought, I kid you not, I didn't know the water heater burner. I didn't even know what I was looking at. That's not an exaggeration. So I need to know that if a contractor's telling me he's going to replace a double hung window, hey, is $300 and something a good deal, or is it $600? Like, I just wanted to know, just so I'm better. Education will never hurt you. So that way I could say, okay, number one, I know, a contractor can't bullshit me in a sense, but also eventually when I want to go ahead and bring on either a project manager or somebody, I could go ahead and educate them properly. So I know this is not for everyone. I mean, some people could argue and say you could have taken that 2 years and just focused on being a business owner, and so what if you paid too much or got screwed here and there. To me, I've noticed that when I left too many things of unknown, it came back to bite me. So what I felt comfortable with was being in the trenches, to learn it from the ground on up, and then to be able to outsource it properly. That's just what I felt made sense for me. Interestingly enough, now that I have learned a little bit, I'm falling into the bad habit of going, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and do that trim, or I'll do this, where I realize that's not business owner activity. Even if I have to pay a little extra, my time is worth, more than sitting there cutting trim and putting in floor, whatever it may be. I still do. You can look at my Instagram. I still do get caught up in doing it once in a while. But right now I'm at that transition phase where, okay, the building blocks are there. I'm ready to start the next phase. I want to have my blueprint before I go ahead and start expanding out to other counties. Like I was doing the whole state of New Jersey. I was doing Philly. I was doing Miami. And then I realized, let's rein it in. Let's stay close to home. Let's make sure we got a solid foundation so that when it comes time to branch out, I got my blueprint, and then it's easy to just bring on people. You know, I'm looking for like a McDonald's kind of operation. Make it as simple as possible so that people can jump on board, follow along, learn quickly, and requires as least, you know, training as possible in that regard. Or, you know, if I'm creating videos, I'm doing that once, and now people who learn, I don't have to continue to teach that. I just point them to the video and they'll be able to learn. So that's kind of where I'm at now in my business.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, it's funny because we do learn in the trenches. I mean, I've learned from some of the top gurus in the country. I've studied under many of them, and I've learned the most just by doing it and being out there and being in the trenches and making mistakes and learning different ways it works for me. Because, you know, I've learned, like I said, I've learned from the top gurus in the country, and I've taken all of the programs. They've all given me their programs to try. And, you know, I've been through so many different programs, but I find that for me, what works best is just being out there doing it, you know, every day, you know, out there in the trenches and doing it and making mistakes and learning from them. I mean, I just think that's the way to go, which is what I teach my members. You know, I want to get them out there. And that's why, like with the Mastering Wholesaling program, they just finished a 4-week program that I taught them. But it's basically getting them up and out. You know, it was connecting them with an investor-friendly agent, going out and looking at houses. I wanted them in the field to get a feel for it.
Absolutely.
You know,
there's no shortcut takes. You know, if I were to lose everything today, I can at least say one thing that you can't take from me is my experience, right? So all this experience that we've accumulated over the past 10, 15, X amount of years, similar with you, if something we go like, you can't take that knowledge from me. And I think that's just, it's irreplaceable, and I think that's definitely valuable. If in 5 years we have another interview and I'm sitting there in the field, then there's something wrong. You know, I plan on going, like I said, more of, okay, I'm pulling myself out, more having the people do the work, and et cetera. So
yeah, that's where I am now. It's like, you know, I look, Mom has had her boots on the ground now for 10 years. Mom's exhausted. I need to take a break for a little while. That's why I created the real estate den, and I handed my business over to my 2 boys. They're young, healthy men. They're taking it over, even though I'm still kind of like in the business. I'm not hands-on, and that's where I want to be. It's still automated. We're still flipping. We're still investing, but I'm not. They are doing it. Absolutely,
and it's just different work. I mean, for me, like I try to explain to my wife. I'll say, you know, like, hey, when you get to this point, then what? I'm like, it's really about, you know, my goal isn't like you make X and then you kick back on the beach and that's it. I mean, we all have that vision, right?
Right.
That's what everyone. But I thought about that, and this is actually a realization I've had just the past couple of months. I'm like, damn, when I'm on the beach, I'm like, I'm bored out of my mind in 5 minutes. I'm like, I either want to spearfish, surf, or whatever it may be. I'm like, so really at the end of the day, it's having the power and the to basically do what you want to do when you want to do it. But at the end of the day, I love doing real estate, and it's just different. Like to me, I love I don't golf, but I would love to trade the hammer for a golf club. If I'm out on a golf course and we're discussing deals and high level stuff, that's the kind of work I want to be doing. I want to be going on masterminds in the islands. That to me is better work than, and listen, I don't mind what I'm doing, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just, you're working and you're working hard, but it's just different type of work, different type of, you know, you have different stresses at that point. It's not, where's my next deal? It's, I got $5 million sitting in a bank that I got to find another deal because I got to pay interest on this. I need 10 deals, you know, so.
Yep. You just shift your focus a little bit, you know, and it's funny because I tell a lot of people my favorite store is Home Depot. You know, people think I'm crazy as a woman. You know, I love the smell of Home Depot when I walk in. I like the smell of the wood. I love Home Depot. I love looking through it. You know, they're like, you're a woman. You should be liking, like, you know, purses or going to the mall. I'm like, no, take me to Home Depot. I'm happy. But, you know, it's funny because you get to that point where it just becomes what you know, and it becomes a passion. Yeah. Right? I mean, it really does.
No, I could tell, and it's interesting because, I mean, a big part of the reason why I engaged in the real estate was, you know, the lifestyle that I could provide, and it can be very, you know, you can be monetarily beneficial for sure, but it goes beyond that. I mean, I could tell you that as much as I enjoyed what I was doing in corporate world, you know, sometimes you were working 7-day weeks and maybe you got a pat on the back. I'm not bad mouthing the company, whatever, but you take that, or you take a scenario where somebody may lose their house and you're able to go ahead and facilitate a quick transaction where you will make money, you'll make decent money on it. But I mean, at the end of that, I've had homeowners tell me, you know, just hearing your voice on the phone was a godsend. Thank God, God sent you to me. And I mean, the amount of appreciate is just, it's amazing, and it just makes that much better. Like, wait a minute, I'm buying a house at a good deal that I hopefully make money on. I'm helping a homeowner get out of a bad situation. I'm helping the town because the house is typically dilapidated, typically not paying taxes. And if I'm flipping it, we're going to put in, you know, a first-time home buyer, let's say, you know, will have their dream home. I mean, that's 5 items right there, beneficial all around. And that doesn't even include you're bringing on contractors that you're help providing, you know, for them, you know, work for them and feed
job security. Yep.
I mean, it's really an amazing thing of how much you really do affect your community, people around you, your family, friends, etc. I mean, it's very rewarding. And listen, it comes with its challenges. I mean, you get the good with the bad. You know, for example, well, I'm my own boss. I could take off, you know, any day and go surfing and not have to ask anybody. On the same token, a lot of times when people kick back around 5, 6, 7 o'clock, that's part 2 of my day. Sometimes you know, I was in the field. Now I got to work on the business. Or hey, weekends, you know, sometimes people are kicking back and relaxing. I'm working an entire weekend. Now the key is it doesn't feel like work because I love what I'm doing.
Right.
But I'm putting in those hours, and you know, that's something that I could say, and not to deter people, but if you're going to get in this real estate game and you want to do it as a business, you have to treat it like a business. You can't treat it like a hobby. And the results will quickly show. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong for people who want to do it part-time. You can earn a good living like that. I've heard stories of people who used to wholesale houses just to pay for vacations. But if you are going to do it for, hey, I'm serious about doing this. Like when I left corporate world, my father, you know, it was a shock to them. They were like, hey, don't lose sight of computers. And I understand. I think they paid for most of the college. I think they did. So I get it. Wait a minute. My son is taking a venture and he has a good degree from NJIT as a computer science. You know, what the hell's going on here? Hey, don't throw it down the shitter, so to speak. And I was like, Dad, I'm burning every goddamn bridge there is because there's no plan B. That's how focused. That's how my mindset was. There's, I mean, like 50 Cent, get rich or die trying. Well, I'm going to make this happen or not. Like there's no plan B because I don't want that as an option. That's already accepting failure. So I feel like, and even so, you know, I had to struggle the whole year before I, you know, landed my deal. But I think it's very important for people to have that mindset to probably exceed at any business, but especially for real estate, which I know that you have to treat it like such. So, you know.
No, I remember when I started, when I started in real estate, I first got into real estate, I always say by accident, you know, because in reality, I got into real estate. I knew nothing about real estate, but it was like, I needed to find a way out of my situation. What do I do? And then all of a sudden there was this little Italian dude on television jumping up and down saying, you know what, you can make money in real estate with no money. I was like, you know what, that's my situation. That's what I want. So I jumped on and got the book and I made my first $10,000 within 30 days. But you know what, that freedom felt so good. With that $10,000 to be able to, the freedom that I felt, you know, the weight was lifted off my chest. I could finally pay my bills. You know, I wanted to do it again. Oh, you know, and it gives you that drive. Oh, absolutely. It's a freedom. You get a freedom with it. You know, that first $10,000 that I made was like $1 million to me because, you know, I had never made that much money in my life. And the freedom just felt so good to be able to pay off my debts. You know, first time in my life, I had $10,000 that I could pay my debts with. That's addictive. That's definitely, you know, that freedom is addictive. And I just never wanted to go back. I wanted to maintain that freedom and keep moving forward. And it wasn't as easy to, you know, that first deal kind of just fell in my lap. I don't even know how I did it, but I knew nothing about real estate and closed the deal in 30 days and made 10 grand. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it happened to me. And it was a very easy deal to do. But the second one was not so easy, right? And then after that, it just started getting a little bit harder. But I kept persevering because I loved the feeling of the freedom. And that's what real estate gives you. It gives you this freedom to live life on your terms, right? It gives you this freedom to be able to be your own boss and decide when you're going to work and when you're not going to work. And there's a lot more to it than just the money, right? It's the freedom that it gives you. Don't you agree, Ryan? It does.
100%. I mean, like, so what I was trying to say before is like, yeah, even though I may work weekends, I may work now, but it's having that ability to really do what you like. Hey, I want to go surfing. I don't have to ask anybody. That's ultimately, what was always chipping away at me is like, yeah, I had great bosses, but something about being told what to do just never jived with me. And I don't know if that resonates with other people, other entrepreneurs, but and I call it entrepreneurship blood. I think you're born with it. I think it's just something that's in there that just you can't, it'll just eventually come through and break through, whatever. But I think one of the interesting things is that, I've done deals, you've done deals, and you have gurus that are, trying to sell courses, and they're showing checks. And I get it. I can see from people that are probably watching this and haven't done their first deal, I get the sense of skepticism 100%. And as I was kind of diving in before about courses and stuff, I think it's also that people don't want to get scammed, right? They want to feel like they're okay with buying the course, but they may read up that, oh, this was a scam, it doesn't work because the person thought they were going to click a button, it would work, make them money. At the end of the day, the stuff does work, but it is going to require work on their behalf.
Yep.
There's no two ways about it. The biggest key is once you get your first deal, then you go, okay, it is possible. And that's really what I get it. I mean, I see the responses on Facebook of people, yeah. Why are you selling courses if you make all this money and stuff? They don't get it. It's short-sightedness. I mean, the reality is if I have a group as well where I do similar interviews and stuff. And to me, it's okay. What is other opportunities going to bring? If I can educate a wholesaler so that he can be solid on the deals, and then I don't have to it brings me a deal. No, this is why this is bad, et cetera. If I can educate them in such a fashion, hey, it's going to come full circle. We're going to do deals together. They're going to bring deals, whatever it may be. So I feel it's like it's important to educate people so that, I look at it as really that, like I had students in the past and they became my partners. That's the ultimate goal. Granted, there might be a barrier of entry. And to be honest with you, I think it's imperative in a lot of these scenarios with education, whatever it may be, because it is what it is. Unfortunately, people only value or will treat, if they're paying. I pay a lot of money for a mentorship program. You could bet your rear end that like I'm glued to everything that is said. If it's free, I'll look at it later, whatever it may be. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I think, kind of coming back, like if people take this serious and they're going to put in the time, not I sent out 10 postcards and that was it. And that's unfortunate, but you're going to get rejected a lot. They may luck out like you and get their first deal in 30 days. They may not. They may have to wait a year like I did to get my next deal. Yep. It is possible. I could say that it is a challenging time to go in real estate. It's all over HGTV. Everyone wants to get in, kind of like most up cycles. And therefore, MLS is typically saturated. Agents are hearing the same thing. Oh, you want to get into real estate. They don't take you serious. That's why it's important to get the proper education, to know how to deal with these professionals. Is to get out there and do it, to know that it's not going to happen immediately, but take it seriously and do consistent action. And I don't see any possibility that it won't work. I've seen some people out there that on their Facebook Lives when they were first starting off, and I'm looking at the information and I'm going, oh my God, I commend them for giving back, but they're not giving good information. And I listened to the live calls they had, and it was that bad, but they were still doing deals. And I'm like, if they can do it, I don't think anyone can do it. The key that is that they were consistently doing the work. Somebody, I don't know if we're ready for questions. I just happened to catch one. Teresa mentioned they're going to do bandit signs on the weekends. Got free Google number last night. Can I just warn you on that? And I don't want to be like a bearer of bad news. I actually got arrested for bandit signs. So I was big into the bandit signs years ago. Jefferson Township up here in Morris County, I put a couple out, and I don't check my P.O. box every day. I happen to go check one time, and I look, I see summons and it wasn't, my name wasn't even spelled right. So I go, all right, here's the summons for these signs, and the court date was already passed. So I'm like panicking. I go to my local police station because I'm thinking if I'm driving and I get pulled over, they're gonna lock me up. So I go literally to Rockaway Township, and they go, yeah, unfortunately, we have to arrest you. Now, mind you, they were at fault. They sent it to a P.O. box. They shouldn't have done it, etc. Allegedly, I should have went to Jefferson. They probably wouldn't have done that. Anyway, the moral of the story is be careful if you're doing bandit signs. They are frowned upon. If you're going to do them, I don't do them on the poles. Sometimes I'll put them in the ground. They seem a little more lenient that way. Know which areas you're doing. Or if you're going to do it on the weekends, pull them off later on, before the week starts. But I will caution you on those. Out of all the methods and whatnot, those ones, well, because I got arrested, they kind of scare me. So I don't really engage in those too much.
Okay. Well, they are just different ways, and every county's different.
Yeah.
Not everybody will lock you up for them. I mean, there's certain places like,
No.
One of my partners lives up in the woods in New York, and he can put them anywhere, and they're not saying anything. So it all goes, I guess, to the location and where you live.
Correct. So supposedly across New Jersey, they're illegal, period. However, some towns will enforce, some won't, and some will enforce obviously differently. I've had some call me and say, hey, can you just take the sign down? All right, no problem. Boom, they come down. Others just take them down. Others you never hear from. Others don't care. And then others care a lot. So that's why I would just caution you on how you do those. And congrats, Teresa, on doing a deal. Yeah, I'm not trying to deter you from that. Just be mindful because it's not fun. It costs me a good amount of money.
I mean, definitely. I think there's a lot of ways. I sent them out 20 ways to find deals today. There's so many ways to find deals that when I hear people say, I'm not making any money because I can't find any deals. Well, you're not looking, because you know what? They are everywhere. And there's so many different methods to find them. And there's so many ways to find really good deals. And you know what? Deals aren't found. They're created, right? We don't find deals. We create deals out of what we find, right? So that's definitely, that's the key there. So a lot of people are out there looking for these great deals. Well, guess what? You're not going to find them because you need to create that deal. You need to take what looks like a potential deal or what could be a deal in your eyes and then make it into a deal. That's what wholesalers do. That's our talent, right? That's what we do. We create deals. Yeah.
And to just continue on that a little bit, my suggestion would be, for the people starting off, they have plenty of ways. I would try to go ahead and basically seek out those that not everybody is doing. So, for example, when I was first doing postcard mailers, the big list was absentee owners. That became so saturated that everybody was doing absentee owners that our response rates tanked after a little bit. So to me, I said, you know what? I have to shift my focus. I have to become like a student in the where not, hey, here's a fish, but how to learn to fish. Everyone hears that, but it's really true. So to me, I make it my business even today to say, okay, where's the saturated areas? I'm really gonna avoid them. Or what could I do either to stick out or to seek out other areas that not everybody is looking into, especially in a very hot market in a time period where everyone wants to get in real estate. It's very easy to get discouraged if, we all know when a seminar is in town, right? My phone rings off the hook. Hey, my name's John and I'm a investor, and they read the same script. And it's unfortunate. I mean, I try to be nice and polite. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't take them that serious because actually 100% of the time I don't hear back from them. That's all I hear. All right, great, send me something, and I never see anything.
Yeah.
They probably saw the back and then the roadblock, and then that was it.
See, that's too much work for me, Ryan. I can't. I rather have the MLS in my jammies, just scrolling through properties.
Yeah. So and you have the niche, like you have what works for you, and that's great. I mean, and so the key would be, I guess, whatever route that they go down is to focus. Instead of doing the 20, maybe pick one or two and just go full speed with those.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
That might.
You have to find what works for you. When I closed that first deal, I wasn't even sure it was going to work. Here I am. I just read this book that told me to go out driving for dollars by this little Italian dude, Dean Graziosi, who told me what to do. I followed the book. I didn't really expect to close on a deal. When I closed on it, I was like, holy shoot, I really did this. This was awesome, So, and then I wanted to keep reproducing that. But what I'm saying is, whatever works for you, right? Whatever works in your market, you need to try different. But the biggest thing is just get out there and do it. And that's how you find out what works for you. If you sit back and watch everybody else doing it, you're missing it. You're missing it. You need to get out there. You need to take action. Like Tony Robbins says, massive determined action. That's what creates success. And unless you take action, unless you start doing it and you get out there, your boots on the ground, you get in the trenches, you start doing it, you're not going to know what works for you. You're missing out on all this opportunity, right? I mean, by not doing it.
That's definitely true. And the interesting thing is, because I understand that some people are starting off in different, areas than others. For example, some people has, access to a good amount of money. Other times people don't. They have to go the free methods. I would say that for those that do have the cash to invest, before I was saying that don't expect that, send one mailer and all of a sudden they come pouring in. I would look at it as a long-term play. Expect to spend a good amount of money over, X mailers to finally see your results. That's something that the way I was marketing is I was actually marketing one county, and at that time there was actually so many leads coming in that if they didn't leave a voicemail, I didn't even call them back. We could not keep up. We barely keep up with the leads that were, motivated leaving voicemails. Now, different scenario, different market. Anyone who calls my number from a postcard, message, no message, gets a call back. So,
because the market's a lot tighter now, especially with all the foreclosures that we have. I mean, we have so many foreclosures now at this point. And I don't know about you, Ryan, but here in this part of New Jersey, we drive down the road, you got at least 1 or 2 vacants on every street.
Yeah, it's not that bad here in Morris County, I don't think. I mean, I could say it's still pretty sure. We saw a little bit of a correction, but now it seems like it's picking up a little bit. I'm sure the foreclosures are still there. They still have the zombie foreclosures, whatever. I see some, but not compared to some other areas, at least where I'm kind of focusing on right now. They're there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see it in the same amount that during the crisis. That's not to say that could happen,
oh boy, hold on a minute, guys. My computer's going wacky.
Yep, you're still coming in clear.
Woo! Hold on. Yeehaw. Okay, so Ryan, I had some questions for you. Okay, we're going to wrap this up soon, but you know what? What would you tell? What kind of advice would you give somebody starting out? Where do you think they should start? What do you think they should start with?
What should they start with? So, I mean, actually, I guess I kind of could divert a little bit to what I mentioned before. I was originally going to say wholesaling, but at the end of the day, I think it's probably good that they link up with someone who's experienced, whether they're doing the deals with them, provide JVing, or even have somebody to just kind of shadow them and look over their shoulder.
That's what we that's what we do in the den. Actually, I don't know if you know, but there's a whole team of us in the real estate den who are now coaches who want to do that. We want to shadow people. We want to get behind them and say, you know what, you're doing it wrong. Try this way, and really walk them through every step. And I think that's important to learn from people who have already done it. Right? We've already closed hundreds of deals. It's a big thing.
Yeah. I think that's key. I think there's also 2 parts to that, though. I think it's good to have access to, hey, look, what's, could I, pick your brain on XYZ or whatever. But I also think it's important, not just for the mentor, but the mentee to really, like I was told in college, that you teach you how to learn, so to speak. And when I was doing mentorships, I made it clear. I was like, listen, I'm here not to spoon feed you. And if I spoon feed you, I'm actually going to hurt you. Instead of you saying, hey, Ryan, what investor-friendly title company should I use? I want you to call me and say, hey, Ryan, I spoke to 5 people. They didn't have an answer for me. I searched all over the internet. I did X, Y, Z. I didn't find it. Hey, can you tell me about so-and-so? I want them to, seek out and engage and find that information, because that's important. That's part of learning the business, and it's vital. I mean, I can tell you right now, if all of a sudden, if I was targeting foreclosures right now and the website got shut down for whatever reason, I couldn't access it like I've been the past couple of years, whatever, I could go to the county clerk's office and I could go through those books, and I know exactly how to navigate through those whole system because I did it. Right? If I just was given that on a silver platter, I would lose, I wouldn't have. So
absolutely.
Right. So I think it's important that to have the right people in your corner that you can consult with, that can guide you in the right way. I also think there's a part 2 to that says, some people want to be spoon-fed everything. That doesn't behoove them, because what happens when that person's not there? You want to learn. You want to challenge your brain. I mean, I pride myself on making impossible deals possible. All the deals that I made, like negotiating IRS liens, which I was told was impossible to do, managed to do that on a deal a couple years ago. And it's like, I love that stuff. Just put in my head and just thinking, okay, how do we figure this out? Let's think outside the box. And, every homeowner I deal with has a different situation. So to me, you have to be able to, you want to learn how to learn, and you want to train your brain to figure out, to know, okay, maybe I've never encountered this situation before, but something similar. And then you can kind of go down that path. So,
oh yeah, I mean, that's kind of like with one of my last, and I'm going to cut it short because we're going to go off soon. But one of my last lives that I did, I was teaching people. I want them to start going to these meetups, Ryan. Right, my students. I want them to start rubbing elbows with these investors and listening to these panels and the speeches and the talks that they have, and kind of getting out there, because I think that warm meeting means a lot in this field of really letting people put a name to a face, right, and joining and getting in with other people. Right. That's what you're talking about, like getting out there and really, going out there and, meeting these other investors, doing what they do. That's how you learn.
It's key. I mean, I get that everyone now pushes the podios and there's a lot of automation, and it's great stuff. The problem is, and I even found myself getting into this, especially with a tech background, you're spending so much time trying to automate things that you should just pick up the damn phone and start making calls and make money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's very important to get out there, to network, to get in the trenches a little bit, to see what's going on. Depending on where they want to go, should they be doing that later on? I don't know, but it's very important, like, to just go and do, right? I mean, yeah. I learned by doing. You can only learn so much by reading a book, but I just feel that it sticks with you better, and it just, it's fun at the end of the day, really.
Oh, it is fun. I mean, it's fun seeing what other people are doing, because everybody's doing something different, right? Some people are doing mobile homes. I know somebody, Mary had just mentioned mobile homes. Have you ever flipped a mobile home? I know many people that don't. No, I haven't either. But I know many people that do that. That's all they do. So when you go out there, you're going to see a variety of investors at these clubs that do a variety of different things. That's going to help you see, what your niche is too. I mean, it might not be wholesaling. It might not be flipping. Maybe you want to flip mobile homes. Maybe you want to get into these micro apartments, or, there's so many different things. Or like I'm trying to get into now, different things. Because, I'm kind of bored, with just flipping houses. I flipped almost 100 houses. I want to try something different. And the New York micro apartments have my eye right now. Have you ever seen them, Ryan? They're only like 300 square feet, the whole apartment.
No, I haven't.
Everything's in one, you fold down the bed out the wall, and these people are going crazy over these micro apartments in New York, and they're getting so much money for them. It's just a little tiny, I'm going to say maybe the whole thing is maybe 500 square feet. This whole apartment is real tiny, and the bed folds up into the wall, and everything's right there. And you know what? These young kids or these college, they're loving it because it's so convenient and reasonable for them. Right. So this is something else that I want to get into, is these micro apartments. It's a whole different chat. But anyway, so, okay. Do we have any questions for Ryan here? I just want to make sure that we're answering your questions. So if anybody has any questions.
Karen wrote one. She said, how do you get your postcards? I use Click-to-Mail. I know there's, I can even show you. And now don't get all caught up. And I know everyone will be like, what exactly postcard do you use? That's not really, well, anyway, I'll just show you. Here's very plain. I don't know if you can see that. Plain vanilla. And I'm doing a lot of branding on my company. Have company colors, logo, whatever it may be, getting brand awareness. But you'll notice on that postcard, there was no branding whatsoever. Plain vanilla, straightforward, simple. And the key to that is it's not really what it says for the most part. It's really just the consistency. So Click-to-Mail is one of the ones out there. I know Go Big Printing is another. However, I will caution you, in my experience, for example, when I was using Go Big Printing, they were nice. They were glossy, very professional. They did not perform anywhere near the way these ones do. Now, that's not to say that's the same for everyone else. I just know in my experience, these simple, basic postcards work better than those fancy corporate-looking ones.
A lot of people like just basic, and they do. They catch the attention. I mean, I get, in some of my properties, I'll get them in the mailbox. Still, I own the property. I've already bought it, but they're sending out these mailings, and I get them too. So, anybody else have any questions for Ryan before we cut it off here today? I don't know what you guys. Any question? I'm sure you have some questions for Ryan. Come on, let the guy feel good here that he's on the chat here. Nobody has questions.
Wow, did I do that good of a job of
You
answering? Let me
did
see.
a great job, Ryan. You rocked it tonight. That was awesome. That was awesome. So
Thank
one
you.
more question. I have one more question for you, Ryan. How do you think real estate changed your life? In what way? Besides financial?
I mean, every which way possible. I mean, just again, I mean, even with all the stress is like, you know, I don't know about you, Carol, but I mean, I've had in the business, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've had some of probably the lowest points in my life in the business, but I've also had some of the highest points in my life. So I think it's the ability of taking control. You know, and for me, it's like not like, oh, I have to get up and go, you know, get up on Monday and go to a job. Hey, I'm getting up and working and probably working more, or definitely working more hours than when I was at corporate. It's just different than when you're doing it for yourself and you're building a business, and it's just like you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears. And not to sound selfish, but I guess when you're doing it for your own company, whatever, it doesn't feel like work, and you don't mind putting in countless hours, because to me, it's really a gray area, a thin line between fun and work from what I do. Now, granted, not everything I do is fun. You know, there's tedious tasks and whatnot, but for the most part, I mean, I just enjoy everything I do. I mean, even like rehabs as what I'm doing right now, as an example, not crazy about doing them, but like when you see these dilapidated houses and then they're at the tail end and they just come to fruition, they come to life, and I'm like, wow, it's just an awesome.
Nothing. Yes, nothing like that. I'll tell you that right now. There's nothing like that feeling. When you go in the house, you go in a house that's all boarded up and decrepit, and it smells like mold and it stinks, and you go in there and a family just lost it. It's heartbreaking that the families are losing these homes, and you go in there. But you know, 30, 60, 90 days down the road, you got like this woo, you know, that feeling. There's nothing like that feeling after walking around. There's nothing like it.
Right. And I mean, just to add on a little bit, I mean, you know, besides obviously having the freedom and stuff to do what you want to do, I mean, you know, I have some rentals. So to me, I'm technically making money while I sleep, right? So you do that work one time, let's say. Sure, you have maintenance and you have to deal with tenant issues. It's not all gravy, but most of the time, you know, I have, you know, money coming in is passive income. I mean, that's just a great thing. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yep. No, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Ryan. And I think you nailed it tonight. I think everybody's pretty quiet here because they're just trying to digest everything that you just gave them. They're like, huh?
Now it's funny because I was diving into this a little bit, and I see Teresa's question. It's what list do you use for your postcards? And I've been there, and I'm not diverting this question, but I've been going through this myself for the past year. I would challenge you, Teresa. It's not about the list, because if I tell you right now, and I could tell you, for ones that most people probably don't target, and I don't even get my lists from List Source and stuff. I actually get them right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, the tax records, county clerk records, etc. I even target like veterans and whatnot. That's just a one-off kind of thing that most people probably don't talk about. The reason why I'm saying this is I would challenge you more along the lines of not what list, but how can you find other lists or prospects that most people are not focusing on. Because at the end of the day, if all of a sudden veterans become the list, like I could tell you, tax delinquent was my #1 list, and that became the new absentee owner list. It's saturated. I still mail it, but my response rate went from probably about 10 or 12 to now like 1 or 2%. So if I gave you a list and that only works for a month and it becomes saturated, it doesn't do you any good. However, if you learn how to, like, for example, look at the tax records and study that information and say, okay, hey, I see that this type of record had this type of transaction, which may mean there's some type of motivation. You can then learn and know where to find these other little secret hidden gems, so to speak. So I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but that's probably a better answer. Basically, learning how to fish will behoove you tenfold over. And I call myself a data ninja. The past year, 2 years, I've been doing exactly that. What list? And I go, you know what? Forget the list. Let me go ahead and try to find out and try to see other areas that other people are focusing on. And guess what? Once everyone shifts and starts focusing on other areas, they're going to abandon those once, popular areas. Then I'll switch over there. So when other people are zigging, I'm going to zag, so to speak. At least that's what I try to do.
No, definitely. You go where the people aren't. I mean, I always say that too. Let's see, where are we? A debt violation list. Building debt violation list. I don't know, Laborio, what you're trying to ask. Yeah, you heard of that?
Yeah, I mean, I could rattle off a couple. The violations list, veterans list. Sometimes if somebody did a transaction to a family member, you may see a transaction for $1 or $100. Sometimes that's a decent prospect. But at the end of the day, I didn't just think. I looked and I studied the data to try to say, okay, where would if I was a motivated seller, where do these motivated sellers lie? So to speak. We all know foreclosures. We all know the absentee owner. We now tax delinquents. Well, okay, those are saturated. Where can I look elsewhere that may make sense? And there's probably about 10 or 20 or plus that I don't even know about that other people are focusing on and whatnot.
Definitely. I mean, that's, like I said, that's why I said about that 20 ways to find deals, because, you just got to get creative and think outside the box like you're doing right now, because deals are everywhere. You need to be looking in the, like by me, we have these 2 lake communities, right, Ryan? So in the lake communities, those houses used to be, like right now, people live them as residential houses. But back in the day, they were just vacation homes, right? They were rental vacation homes, little bungalows.
That's where I live. Meadow Lake. It was vacation, and they just built up now.
And now they're single family homes. But what happened is those vacation homes has been through family member, and they've been handed down the line. So if you do mailings sometimes and you see that they're vacant, those people are ready to motivated to get rid of those. I mean, and that whole community now is coming up because people are selling those old vacation homes. So you never know if you have a lake community or something around you.
And you know what? Not only that, and I still do this probably because it's just in me and I enjoy it. I still drive for dollars. If I'm taking going to the gym, I'll try to take different roads to get there just to see, just to kind of iterate a little bit on that. During snow time right now, right? If you see somebody's house they didn't shovel their driveway, there's some papers piled up, that's typically a clear indicator. One of the big ones that I've noticed that a lot of people overlook, if you ever see a house, you're not sure if it's vacant or not, and you see it's missing an electric meter, I guarantee they're probably vacant. So to me, I mean, those signs, overgrown grass during the summer, Christmas lights in August that no one took down, little things like that. But that's something that you could just incorporate, in your day-to-day activities. Again, I find it fun. I actually will take an Excel sheet, I'll map out every single street, and then put like a grid. And that way we're driving, I'll put the house number, and I'll just up street, up and down them, and I'll awesome. Every couple 6 months or so I'll do that. So. Yeah, there is a lot of different ways. I mean, I started off door knocking, pre-foreclosures, basically jumping into the lion's den. You want to talk about one of the toughest, ways to go about finding leads? You find out very quickly what to say, what not to say, and how to say it. That's actually how I got my first deal. But that's another option for people. Not many people are willing to knock on a door of somebody losing their house. So, most people aren't doing it. I'd say go ahead and do it.
And the other things are like nursing homes, build a relationship with nursing homes, because there's a lot of people that, what I would do sometimes, what I had told people is, just go there, talk to them, give them your card to see if any of their patients or anybody that's in the nursing home, let's see what they're looking, are they looking to purchase a home? But they have your card on file. That way they know that if there's one of their residents in their nursing home want to sell their home, or the family's having a hard time with the estate or whatever, they know to call you. And that's a great way to leave a lead. It sounds a little bit morbid, but you know what? These people need help
100%.
too.
No, absolutely.
I mean, they need help too. You got families who are trying to take care of relatives' houses. They have to keep up with the taxes, and they got to keep paying the bills, and it becomes a burden to them. If you think about it. So, I mean, that was just one out of the way box that things I thought about before.
And I don't know, you just kind of spurred. Maybe we'll give it a shot. I want to miss Zed's question. He asked if I use PropStream. I actually did do their trial. I pulled their list. I mailed from it. I like the setup they have, but it's not for me. Like I like the ability of the information that it provides, but it's just something that I just don't need it in my business right now. And I did, with the list that I did pull from there. Again, I mean, I mailed them only once, I believe, which you can't really gauge too much. But when I compared that to the lists that were performing better, I just focused my time to the better performing lists.
That's what we do.
Yeah. So, Laborio did a bunch of things, and word of mouth is.
Laborio always has a bunch of things to say. Laborio is like my number one den rah-rah. He's my mascot. He's the den mascot, so he's always going to be on there giving us. I love him to death. He's always on there encouraging me and keeping me going.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I have a little shore house in Point Pleasant, and interestingly enough, it's called Rye's Den because my name's Ryan and it's a den, but my son's name is Rye Den, so it's kind of like a split meaning to it. But I got that from a referral, just from one of my associates who knows what I do, and it wasn't in his area and whatnot, and especially in a hot market, again, when there's a lot of competition, relationships are key. He mentioned a bunch of state attorneys, et cetera. Absolutely. It's so here's a little twist. It could kind of address what Teresa, I believe her name was, questioned before. What list? Well, here's a way to kind of, I don't want to say reverse engineer, but a way to look at it from a different angle. So I market to probates and whatnot, and that's a decent list, we'll say. However, instead of marketing to hundreds of probate leads, if you actually marketed it and had one estate attorney, probate attorney, they could be your lifeline for many, many deals. So, a little mind shift there. Instead of targeting the actual prospects, why not target the actual attorney who's, hey, he doesn't get paid typically until the thing sells. And if you have a relationship with them and you have, a history, like all you need is to perform once on one of those deals, and he's going to bring you every future client. So.
That's funny because that's how I got Whitney Houston's house. I don't know if you know, but I actually was, I actually was called, I wholesaled.
Because how many people put that through my desk?
yeah, I actually got that. But that's how I got it as a short sale was through an attorney who knew about what I did, and I've already proven myself to him. So that was pretty cool.
I may even marketed that at one point. I know Aaron Fragnito, an associate of mine, was marketing at one point, and about 10 other people. That's Morris County. That's kind of my backyard. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. So, okay. So if there's no more questions here, guys, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. I'm getting a little dried out here. I know that. So let's see. Laborio is on here, and I don't think we have any more questions, Ryan. I think you rocked it tonight. I think you answered everybody's questions. Now you guys can go back and watch this as well. It's going to be, it'll be sitting in the den here on the Facebook page for you guys to watch. But I think that is it for tonight, Ryan. I think you did an awesome job. I actually as we're sitting here, I just got asked to speak up in North Brunswick, which was pretty cool. It's a panel of wholesalers versus rehabbers versus landlords, and they want me to argue the position of the wholesaler. I'm like, okay.
That's great. I just saw that pop up. It was, I think it's Shamil, or he was advertising.
Yeah, Shamil. Yeah, that was funny. But But I actually wholesaled him a property one time. That's a whole other story. Okay, so I think everybody here, no more questions. Laborio wants you to send him your info. Ryan's info,
I could just give it in case. But if not, I mean, you could you could look me up. My name's a little tough to spell. Everyone calls me RyanPal. It's Paliukatis. I also have a group, REI Unite, which I do similar interviews, which there's going to be a lot of cool content. I'm more than happy to share that with everybody and love their feedback. But anyway, you can look me up on Instagram. It's RESPNJ, which stands for Real Estate Solution Providers. So RESPNJ on Instagram. You could probably put in Ryan Buys Houses. My personal Facebook, if people have trouble finding me, I might as well just spell it. My last name is Paliukatis. P as in Paul, A as in Apple, L as in Larry, I-U-K, A as in Apple, I, T as in Tom, I, S as in Sam. So you can spell it out. You'll find me.
Oh, my God. I call you RyanPal. That's as far as
there you go. So, and if they want to email me, this is very simple, ryan@ryanpal.com. So.
Great. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I want you to connect. I want people to be able to connect with you on your level. Like I was telling them before, we all reach people on different levels, Ryan. You may reach people that I can't reach on my level as an encouragement or an inspiration, right? I mean, it's just the way it goes in this field. Not everybody reaches everybody. So, again, I just brought Ryan on. I wanted him to inspire you guys to just get up and get it moving. In the real estate den, there's a lot of training going on. And really, we just encourage you to get out there, get your feet wet. I mean, get out there, get your boots on the ground, just start doing it. Like Ryan says, just go out there and start, getting involved and putting things into action. That's definitely the way it works. So again, thank you.
I agree. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, just to kind of reiterate on that a little bit, and it's so key because, a lot of times people will, they'll go to the seminar, they'll go to the meeting, or they'll watch this and they get jazzed up, and that quickly fades. I get it. We're all, been there. But key is that, and I can promise you this, even if you take 1 or 2 channels and you just consistently do it, and listen, I've been there 1 whole year without landing that short sale deal, going to bed saying, and I think I may even bought a bootleg course now I think about it, on eBay, and just going, I hope I wasn't, thinking, was I taking advantage of whatever? Like, I just know this works, and it does. And a lot of people are have your training, which is top notch stuff. So the key is you're gonna fail. It's just, as they say, fail forward. It's very cliche, but it's so true. And you're gonna hit many roadblocks. And this is probably me reprogramming my own mind. Is like, you're gonna get to the points where you just want to give up. And the irony is that once it may be 1 call away from your next deal. Yep. And once you get that first deal, everything changes. Okay, it is possible. And it really is. I'm prime example of that. It actually works. And once you get that little, I call it like the carrot in front, dangling in front. To me, if it was like, okay, I got, I sent out postcards and then I got a received call. Oh, wow, that was like the carrot. All right, I didn't land the deal, but okay, that's step 1. And then, okay, it's not a deal, 100 calls, oh shit, whatever. And then 500 calls, oh yeah, come to my house, so-and-so, or I talked to 100 homeowners and nothing, but that 101, okay, this is a true motivated seller. This is a true deal. Got it. So it's kind of like, to me, I always looked at, not like I'm going to land a deal tomorrow, but those little baby steps, like, okay, the homeowner answered, or okay, they accepted my offer, and then it didn't turn out to be a deal. But those little wins are so key, and I wouldn't ignore them. I would use that as motivation. And you make a believer, like, it's easy for us. I get it. I've been in a scenario where, hey, they're showing checks. These guys have done it. They could be feeding a line, but you'll make yourself a believer if you just consistently do the work, even when you want to quit. I'm still there. I'm not immune to this. I'm in the same boat as a lot of you guys are, with just a little more experience. Learning every day. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know a ton of stuff. Yep. And the more it drives me, the more it makes me, I guess, as you kind of learn, you understand the process involved, and you're no longer deterred by it, but motivated by it. So to me, like, I want to branch off to multifamilies and apartments, which, is a whole nother animal in and of itself. But I know, what it entails. To give you guys a little idea, I haven't even listened to music in my car in months because I'm listening to podcasts. Like, to me, this doesn't end. It's in, consistently, like, it's in my 24/7. I'm reading books. I'm listening to podcasts. If I'm doing a floor, which I shouldn't be doing, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm making the best of that time. So educate yourself, study Carol's programs. You're in good shape. Just stick with it, and I wish you guys the best. I'd love to connect with you guys if any of you are, connect any which way. But for those of you are in Jersey, I'm in Morris County. More than happy to link up with you guys and help any way I can as well.
What I'd like to do, Ryan, too, is I want to send you over a membership to the Real Estate Den. You might be able to just get in there and start connecting with people in the den. We have live forums in there, and there's a lot of different groups in there, and it's kind of like Facebook, but like in the den. So there's definitely a way to connect with these people one-on-one. So I think if I can send you over a membership where you can just come on in and join these people, I think it'd be a great inspiration for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds good. I listen, I'm not, I know it may seem a little intimidating, like, hey, I've done some deals and, oh, he did 20 deals, so-and-so. At the end of the day, I'm still new. I'm still green. I'm still learning, still motivated. Like I said, I've lost money. I make money here and there, but the key is just continue to drive, and that, there's probably plenty of people on there that are probably more talented, smarter, et cetera, that could exceed what I'm doing by 100 and whatever. So, it'd be awesome. I'd love to connect with you guys. It'd be great.
All right. Sounds good. So listen, guys, I'm going to cut it out for tonight. It is 8:30 here on the East Coast. So we've been on for an hour and a half. But I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope that Ryan was able to inspire you, which is my whole plan here, that he was able to, push you forward, give you a little bit of a drive, and give you some energy to work with. So, again, if you're not a member of the Real Estate Den, head on over to therealestateden.com. Grab your membership. There's a lot going on inside. If you like this, we do a lot of this in there. We do a lot of live chats. There's live events that go on. This is just one of many things that we do in the real estate den, as far as, bringing people on, letting you hear other stories from other people, giving you some training and giving you a little push in the butt to get you out there and moving. So this is Ryan Pal. You got his information. I'll also put his email address or whatever on, I say Ryan Pal because I am not even going near your last name. So, we'll give his connections out there. But I just want you guys to be inspired by Ryan. And hopefully, hopefully I can start interviewing one of you guys. You guys do a deal. I'm going to bring you up here and we're going to interview. We're going to talk together. You guys get it going. You guys start to get moving. You guys start to do something. I'm going to bring you up and we're going to do a chat together here on Facebook, and we're going to inspire other people. That's what it's all about. It's about paying it forward. And that's where I am in my life. I just want to take what I have and I want to pay it forward into the lives of others. And there's an old saying, you never leave a man behind. And I don't want to leave anybody behind, Ryan. I want to pull everybody up to the mountain with me. I just want them to get to the top and start doing it. And that's what I've dedicated now. I've done my investing. I've earned my success. I've got a net worth of over almost $2 million. I'm doing well for myself. Now it's time for me to pay it forward and help somebody else get there. And that's what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. Everything else is already automated in my life, my investments. I have a rental portfolio. I've got things going on that my kids are running. But now I would just want to focus on helping people, get to the mountaintop. And together, I think we can bring a lot of people up with us through our experience and our knowledge. And just because we've been there, we've done that, there's a lot of things that people are going to grab through these lives that it's just going to make a light bulb go off and say, wait, I could do this. Let me try this. And they're going to do it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, they definitely can. And that's, that's the biggest key. And I think once you guys do your first deal, if you haven't already, you will see that. So wish you guys very best of luck. Make a believer, make yourself a believer. Just stick it out and just keep doing it. And then eventually, like I said, I gave you an example before. I saw someone that the information was terrible, but they just stuck with it and they were doing deals. So I go, if they can do it, literally, no BS, anybody could do it. So I wish you guys luck and love to hear any success stories you guys got.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Hey, guys, I'm going to say good night. And on the 16th, I think Gina's doing her chat on Monday in the real estate den. She's going to teach you how to find money. Gina Heredis is doing a chat on finding money in the den. She's going to teach you how to find your private lenders and find your IRA lenders and how to go out there and start finding your money. So that'll be the 16th, which I think is Monday. When is the 16th? It's the 16th. When's the 16th? No, it's not Monday. 16th is Thursday. So next Thursday, Gina's chat will be on. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring more people. I'm going to find more people to come and chat and inspire you guys. So I just want to say good night. Good night, Ryan. Thank you very much for everything.
Sounds good.
I'll talk to you guys next time. We will be here again. I'm hoping probably going to do another one of these over the weekend. I'm going to find some more people. If you guys know anybody that's inspiring, if you guys know anybody in your life that really you think has stepped up and made a difference, whether it be in real estate or whatever, I want to talk to them. I want to start bringing people up, doing live chats with them, seeing how they did it. Let's get them inspiring us. Let's get them, bringing things to the table that we don't have. And I think that's definitely going to help you guys keep moving forward and doing this. It's all about, learning from other people. So even if you guys know somebody who is a true inspiration in your life, somebody that has taken things from the bottom and made it to the top, or maybe they were in the valley, made it to the mountaintop, and you just think their story is an amazing story, I want to hear it. I definitely want to hear their story. I would love to consider bringing them up and doing a chat with them to inspire others. And like I said, if you guys start moving and grooving, I'm going to be bringing you up here and we're going to do a chat together. So, I love you guys. Have a fantastic night. If you haven't joined the Real Estate Den yet, therealestateden.com, we'd love to have you in. We do a lot of this continuously. So this is what we do, and we love doing it. So I'll talk to everybody next time. Have a good night.